My neighbor built a fence directly through my garden while I was on vacation. It's my property now. Sue me if you don't like it. He'd torn up my vegetables and flowers. What he didn't realize was that I'm a surveyor. One call to the county, and his fence became evidence in a criminal trespassing case. The fence was in the middle of my garden, 6 feet tall, pressure-treated pine, brand new. The wood so fresh I could still smell the sawdust, running straight through where my tomatoes used to be. I'd been gone for 2 weeks. Vacation in Colorado with my wife and kids, hiking, camping. The first real break I'd taken in 3 years. Came home at 4:47 p.m. on a Sunday to find my neighbor's fence cutting my backyard in half. My vegetable garden was destroyed. Tomato plants, 8 of them. Heirloom varieties I'd been growing from seeds my grandmother gave me, ripped out of the ground. Roots exposed, dying in the August heat. Pepper plants trampled. Bell peppers, jalapenos, the shishitos I'd been nursing for 2 seasons. The herb bed I'd spent 3 years building. Rosemary, thyme, basil, oregano, all mature plants, torn up, dirt scattered. The raised cedar boxes I'd built by hand were splintered, half buried under the fence posts. My hands started shaking. 3 years of work, hundreds of hours, gone. I walked next door, the house to my left, Dale Hammond's place, knocked on the door, hard. Dale answered with a Coors Light in his hand. 47 years old, overweight, wearing a stained tank top and cargo shorts. He smiled when he saw me. Marcus, welcome back. Nice fence, right? Just got it finished yesterday. That's my property, I said. You built a fence through my garden. Actually, it's my property now. He took a sip of beer. Had it surveyed while you were gone. Turns out the property line is 15 feet from where you thought it was. That garden? He shrugged. Always been on my land. I was just being nice letting you use it. My jaw clenched. That's impossible. I know exactly where the property line is. Well, my survey says different. Not my problem. He started to close the door. Sue me if you don't like it. The door shut in my face. I stood there for a long moment, staring at that door, feeling the heat crawl up my neck. Then I walked back to my yard, stood at the fence, looked at what used to be my garden. My wife Sarah came out, saw my face. What did he say? He says it's his property, says he had it surveyed. That's insane. You surveyed this property yourself when we bought it. I know. So what do? I looked at the fence, at the destroyed plants, at 3 years of work reduced to rubble. I'm going to make a phone call. I bought this house 4 years ago. Small 3-bedroom in Alameda County, California. Bay Area suburbs, good schools, quiet neighborhood. The property was 0.47 acres, rectangular lot, chain link fence on 2 sides, open on the 3rd side where it bordered Dale's property. No fence there because the previous owner and Dale had been friendly, shared the yard space, no issues. When I bought the place, I did what I always do. I surveyed it. I'm a licensed land surveyor, California Professional Land Surveyor License, 8473, 12 years experience. I work for Alameda County Planning Department as a senior surveyor. I know property lines. It's literally my job. I'd pulled the county records, found the original survey from when the subdivision was built in 1987, verified the boundary markers, used GPS equipment, double-checked everything. The property line between my lot and Dale's was exactly where I thought it was, 15 feet east of where his new fence now stood. That fence was on my property, completely, entirely, no question. Dale had destroyed improvements, the legal term for structures and landscaping, worth thousands of dollars, and he'd done it while I was on vacation, deliberately, when he knew I couldn't stop him. The next morning, Monday, August 14th at 7:23 a.m., I called my supervisor, Bill Henderson, chief surveyor for Alameda County, 28 years experience. Marcus, you're supposed to be on vacation. I'm back, and I need to report an encroachment issue. What happened? My neighbor built a fence 15 feet over the property line while I was gone, destroyed my garden, refused to move it when I confronted him. Did he get a permit? No permit, no survey. He claims he had it surveyed, but won't show me documentation. Send me everything. Photos, your original survey, property records. I'll get code enforcement involved. I sent it all within 10 minutes. Original survey from when I bought the house. Certified, stamped, filed with the county. Current aerial photos showing the fence location. Photos of the destroyed garden. Property records showing the legal boundary. Bill called me back at 9:47 a.m. This is cut and dry. The fence is completely on your property. I'm sending Janet Rodriguez from Code Enforcement. She'll be there this afternoon. Thanks, Bill. Marcus, you want to file a civil complaint too? Already drafted. Sending it to my attorney today. I called Sarah Yamamoto, real estate attorney I'd worked with on the house purchase. 18 years at the bar. Sarah, I need to file a property damage claim and a trespass complaint. What happened? I explained. How much damage? The garden alone. Plants, soil amendments, irrigation system, raised beds, probably $8,000. Then there's the cost to remove the fence, restore the property, lost use of the land. I'd estimate $15,000 to $20,000 total, Sarah said. I'll draft the complaint. We'll file by end of day. Dale was grilling that afternoon when Janet Rodriguez showed up. Code enforcement officer, Alameda County, 14 years experience. No nonsense. I'd worked with her on dozens of cases. She pulled up in the county truck at 3:17 p.m. Dale saw her, came over, confident, beer in hand. Can I help you? Janet held up her clipboard and badge. Janet Rodriguez, Alameda County Code Enforcement. I'm here about the fence you built. Can I see your building permit? Don't need a permit for a fence on my my own property. Actually, any fence over 4 feet requires a permit in this county, and this fence appears to be 6 feet. Fine, I'll get a permit. That's not the main issue. Janet pulled out a large printed survey map. My survey, the official one. This fence is 15 feet over the property line. It's entirely on your neighbor's property. That's criminal trespass and destruction of property. Dale's face went red. That's bullshit. I had it surveyed. The property line is where the fence is. Do you have documentation of that survey? I don't need to show you anything. Actually, you do. Any survey affecting property boundaries has to be performed by a licensed surveyor and filed with the county. Do you have a survey filed with the county? Silence. I'll take that as a no. Janet handed him a paper. This is a notice of violation. You have 72 hours to remove the fence and restore the property to its original condition. If you fail to comply, the county will remove it and bill you for the cost. Additionally, criminal charges for trespassing may be filed. Dale looked at the paper, then at me, standing in my backyard with my arms crossed. You're behind this. I'm the property owner whose land you trespassed on. You're a fucking... He looked at Janet. What does he do? Mr. Chen is a licensed surveyor for the county, Janet said. He surveyed his property when he purchased it. His survey is on file. Certified. Legal. Dale's face went white. You're a surveyor? Senior surveyor for Alameda County Planning Department, I said. License number 8473. 12 years. Kim Hammond came out of the house. Dale's wife saw the county truck. What's going on? Janet handed her a second paper. This is a notice of a civil complaint filed by Mr. Chen. Lawsuit for property damage, criminal trespass, and attorney's fees. Kim read it. Her face went pale. How much? $15,000 to $20,000, Janet said, plus legal fees. What? Kim turned on Dale. You said you had it surveyed. You said you checked the property line. I did. The guy at Home Depot told me. The guy at Home Depot? Kim's voice went shrill. You didn't hire a surveyor? You asked some random employee? He said he knew about property lines. Oh my God. Kim looked at me. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. He told me he'd had it professionally surveyed. He destroyed 3 years of work, I said. Plants my grandmother gave me. Irrigation systems. Custom-built raised beds. We'll pay for it, Kim said quickly. We'll fix it. It's past that, Janet said. The complaint's been filed. The violations stand. The fence needs to come down. Dale was still holding the papers, staring at them. This is insane. It's just a fence. It's 15 feet onto someone else's property, Janet said. That's not just a fence. That's criminal trespass. She walked back to her truck. 72 hours, Mr. Hammond. I'll be back Friday to verify compliance. Kim was already on her phone, calling someone, probably a lawyer. Dale looked at me, pure hatred in his eyes. You're going to regret this. No, I said. You already do. The previous year had been building to this, though I hadn't seen it at the time. Dale and I had been friendly when I first moved in, waved when we saw each other, made small talk about lawn care and weather. Then I built the garden, started small, tomatoes, peppers, basics. The soil in my backyard was good, full sun, perfect drainage. The garden grew, I expanded it, added raised beds, installed drip irrigation, built trellises for climbing plants. Dale started making comments. That's a lot of work for vegetables you could just buy. Must be nice to have that much free time. You know that's technically my yard too, right? We share that space. I'd ignored it, figured he was just being Dale. But the comments got more frequent, more pointed. Last fall, he'd mentioned the property line. You know, I've been looking at the survey. I think that garden might be on my property. It's not, I'd said. I surveyed the property myself. The line is 15 feet east of here. I don't think so. I've been measuring. With what? A tape measure. I'd laughed, thought he was joking. He wasn't. In December, he'd mentioned building a fence, thinking about putting up a privacy fence. Define the property better. Where would you put it? Along the actual property line, which is 15 feet that direction. I'd pointed east. We'll see. I should have paid more attention. Should have seen it coming. But I'd been busy. Work was intense. The county was doing a major rezoning project and I was lead surveyor on 3 separate parcels. I'd planned the vacation months in advance. 2 weeks in Colorado. Hiking. Camping. Reconnecting with Sarah and the kids. Dale had known I'd be gone. I'd mentioned it in passing. We'll be in Colorado for 2 weeks. If you see any packages, could you grab them? Sure thing. Have fun. He'd waited until the second week. Built the fence in 3 days. Had a crew come in with post-hole diggers and power tools. Ran the fence straight through my garden. Destroyed everything in its path. Deliberately. Maliciously. When he knew I couldn't stop him. Janet Rodriguez came back on Friday at 10:03 a.m. The fence was still standing. Dale's truck was in the driveway. He came out when he saw the county vehicle. I need more time. You had 72 hours, Mr. Hammond. The fence is still here. I'm getting quotes for removal companies. That's not my problem. Janet took photos. Documented everything. I'm issuing a citation. The county will remove the fence starting Monday. You'll be billed for the cost. Additionally, I'm referring this to the county attorney for criminal trespass charges. You can't do that. I already did. She handed him another paper. Court date is September 22nd. You've been charged with criminal trespass, destruction of property, and failure to comply with a code enforcement order. Dale's hands were shaking. This is over a fence. This is about you building on someone else's property without permission, destroying $8,000 worth of improvements, and refusing to fix it. Janet got back in her truck. Kim came out, saw the papers, started crying. I watched from my kitchen window. Sarah stood next to me. Do you feel bad? No, not even a little. He had 2 weeks to think about about this. He built that fence knowing exactly what he was doing. He destroyed my grandmother's plants. He told me to sue him. I looked at her. He made his choice. What happens now? The county removes the fence Monday. Dale gets billed. Probably $4,000 to $5,000 for removal and disposal. He goes to court in September. If convicted, he's looking at fines, probation, possibly jail time for criminal trespass. And the civil suit? Sarah Yamamoto is pushing for $22,000. Actual damages plus emotional distress. Will you get it? Almost certainly. The evidence is overwhelming. The county crew showed up Monday morning at 7:00 a.m. sharp. 3 guys with a truck, power tools, and a dumpster. They started pulling down the fence. Dale came out at 7:14 a.m., tried to stop them. You can't do this. The crew chief, a guy named Rodriguez, no relation to Janet, held up a work order. County authorization. Stand back or we'll call the police. Dale stood on his driveway, watching, face red, fists clenched. The fence came down in sections. Posts pulled out. Wood loaded into the dumpster. By 11:47 a.m., it was gone. My property looked like a war zone. Torn up dirt, destroyed plants, post holes everywhere, but the fence was gone. Rodriguez handed me paperwork. Restoration is on you. Sorry, we're just authorized for removal. That's fine. Thanks. He handed Dale a bill. $4,800, due in 30 days. Dale stared at it, didn't speak. I spent the next 3 days documenting everything for the civil case. Photographed every destroyed plant, every damaged bed, every pile of torn up soil. Called a landscaping company for restoration estimates. Jason Martinez, owner of Martinez Landscaping, 21 years in business. What are we looking at? Full garden restoration, 8 tomato plants, heirloom varieties, 6 pepper plants, herb garden with mature plants, 3 raised cedar beds, irrigation system, soil amendments. Jason walked the property, took measurements, made notes. To restore this to what it was, you're looking at $12,000 to $15,000, maybe more depending on plant availability. Can you write that up? Sure, I'll have an estimate by tomorrow. The estimate came in at $14,300. I sent it to Sarah Yamamoto. She called me 2 hours later. I'm amending the complaint. We're asking for $31,000 now. Actual damages, restoration costs, attorney fees, and emotional distress. Will we get it? Dale's attorney reached out. They want to settle. For how much? They offered $10,000. No, that's what I told them. I countered at 28. They're reviewing. The criminal case moved faster than I expected. Dale pleaded guilty on September 22nd. I wasn't there. Didn't need to be. Sarah Yamamoto kept me updated. He took a plea deal. Criminal trespass and destruction of property. 6 months probation. $3,000 fine. Restitution to you for actual damages. How much restitution? Judge ordered $8,000. That's separate from the civil case. And the civil case? They settled. $23,000. They're paying in installments over 2 years. I did the math. $31,000 total. 8 from criminal restitution. 23 from the civil settlement. For a fence Dale had built to spite me. I used the money to rebuild the garden, and by early October I was back out there with a shovel and a plan. New raised beds, better ones. Western red cedar, 8 inches taller than before. New irrigation system. Drip lines with automated timers. New soil, premium mix, compost, amendments. I ordered new plants. Heirloom tomatoes from a specialty nursery in Oregon. The same varieties my grandmother had given me. I'd saved seeds years ago, just in case. Peppers, herbs, everything I'd lost. Jason Martinez and his crew did most of the heavy work. You want this finished before winter? I want it better than before. We can do that. The garden came together over 3 weeks. Bigger, better, more productive. I installed motion sensor lights, security cameras, made sure every inch of my property was documented and monitored. Dale watched from his driveway sometimes, didn't say anything, just watched. Kim wouldn't look at me, hurried inside whenever she saw me. Fine by me. By the time spring rolled around, the garden was thriving again, and I was out there on a Saturday morning in April when Dale came over. I saw him approaching, tensed, kept my hand near my phone. Marcus. I didn't respond, just kept working. I wanted to apologize. I looked up. Dale looked older, thinner, tired. I was an idiot. I thought, he shook his head. I don't know what I thought. That the property was mine, that I could just take it. I was wrong. I waited. The fence cost me everything. The legal fees, the fines. Kim almost left me. We're in debt up to our eyeballs. He looked at the garden. And you just rebuilt it, like nothing happened. It wasn't nothing, I said. You destroyed 3 years of work. Plants that meant something to me. I know. And I'm sorry, truly. I stood up, looked him in the eye. You told me to sue you if I didn't like it. I know. You built that fence specifically to hurt me, to take something I'd built, to assert dominance or whatever twisted logic you were using. Dale nodded, couldn't meet my eyes. You made a choice, Dale. You chose to trespass. You chose to destroy my property. You chose to be an asshole. I picked up my shovel. And I chose to make sure you faced consequences for it. I get it, do you? Because you had multiple chances to stop, to remove the fence, to apologize, to make it right. You didn't take any of them. I know. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to keep making your payments. You're going to stay on your side of the property line. And we're going to be neighbors who don't speak. Can you do that? Yeah, good. Dale turned and walked back to his house. Kim was watching from the window. He never spoke to me again. The garden produced its first harvest in late June. Tomatoes, peppers, herbs, more than we'd ever gotten before. And Sarah and I stood in the kitchen canning salsa while the kids played outside. Was it worth it? She asked. All the stress, the legal battles. He trespassed trespassed on my property, destroyed years of work, told me to sue him. I sealed a jar. Yeah, it was worth it. Most people would have just let it go. Most people aren't surveyors. She smiled. That fence was the worst decision he ever made. Second worst. The first was assuming I didn't know where my own property line was. We finished canning. 23 jars of salsa, enough to last through winter. I walked outside, looked at the garden, thriving, producing, beautiful. Dale's house was quiet, no music, no grilling. He'd become a ghost next door, and my garden, the one he tried to destroy, was bigger and better than ever. Because when Dale Hammond built that fence through my tomatoes, he made one critical mistake. He assumed the neighbor he was screwing over was just another guy with a garden. He had no idea I was the one who drew property lines for a living.